Ladies and gentlemen, many of you might remember about a year ago, I did a story on Evanston, Illinois. They wanted to be the first in the country to give reparations to their citizens. Well, what they threw together is absolutely not reparations, and you'll hear why when we get into the story. So, this came out on ABC News March 1st, 2021, how the first U.S. city to fund reparations for Black residents is making amends. No, it isn't. Now, listen to this amount: up to $25,000 per eligible resident for housing will be distributed this year. Okay, so what if I am a Black resident, a descendant of slaves, which I am, but not of Evanston, and I'm not looking to move or relocate? Where's my reparations? This ain't reparations. You're putting all of the money into housing, and look at that ridiculous. So 500 years of slavery, oppression, being murdered by cops, living an oppressive life, no fairness in the court, no fairness anywhere, and being harassed by ugly people like Karen. And you're giving us $25,000 for that? Okay, I don't know what that ain't. Okay, why if that's the case, why didn't you just give them Jews $25,000 and walk away? Oh man, this ain't reparations, y'all. They're just slapping reparation, the title reparations on it, but actually what it is not reparations at all. So this is Evanston, Illinois, and it's a city north of Chicago, suburbs. And they, back in the day, had signs of racial segregation, whites only, blacks only, all that stuff. And of course, economically, giving us less. And despite the fact that they had a reputation of being diverse and liberal, but we know what diverse and liberal means, and liberals suck. Okay, y'all suck too. You're just as racist as the conservatives. I don't even know why you try to act like you're not. Okay, what sets Evanston apart from other cities, however, is its groundbreaking plan to address the impact of segregation and Black disenfranchisement, reparations. So they passed a bill in 2019 to spearhead by the Fifth Ward Alderman Robin Rue Simmons, and rooted partially in Rue Simmons' experience growing up in Evanston. In early childhood, I was invited to have a play date. She recalled, my white friends never had a play date at my home, visiting a white friend's neighborhood. She noticed the streets were wider, the trees were taller, and the homes were bigger and brighter. As a young child, I recognized that difference. You sure do. I never felt in any way envious, she said. I never had the feeling like, why isn't my family doing better? But was oblivious to, when you're a child, you don't know everything. Now, you do know racism because I knew it as a child, but you don't know a lot of detail at a real young age. A lot of times you just grow and you start learning as you grow when it comes down to racism. Ruth Simmons still lives in the ward she represents. She says over time, resources were stripped away from her neighborhood, that she said, coupled with a lack of investment, led to an ever increasing wealth gap between white and Black residents in the city. She hopes that her work will help families in her neighborhood and reduce the burden and get some relief via reparations, which will be the first distributed this year in increments up to $25,000 per eligible resident who being used for housing. But I still say that can't be reparations. So you're giving this to Black residents for housing, but what if people are not looking to leave or relocate? What are they getting? You know, no, this ain't reparations if it's going towards housing. And who's deciding whether someone's eligible or not? Who's doing that? And no, you don't have no control over this. They're controlling it. Get out of here. This ain't no reparations pouring money into housing. How the hell is that? If that's like I said, if that's the case, why didn't you pour money into housing for the Jews and just walk away, give them 25,000 and walk away from them? Y'all full of shit, for real. Reparations first arose as a promise in early 1865 to redistribute land in the Southeast US, to formerly enslaved people. For decades, the promise often invoked a phrase 40 acres and a mule. It was a promise left unfulfilled. By the end of 1865, President Andrew Johnson, may he burn in the deepest part of hell, overturned the land redistribution order. In the decades since, Black Americans have endured a succession of injustices, from Black codes to Jim Crow, which we're still in, and redlining, which is still going on. American policies that broadly kept generational wealth building out of reach for many Black communities and still is. I mean, don't talk like that's the past. That's still going on. Today, Evanston is the first city in the US to fund reparations. Wow. You know what? All I got to say, if you're from Evanston and you're accepting this as reparations, I don't know what's wrong with you. This is not reparations. Pouring all of the money into housing, and you got to be eligible for it. You don't just get the money. You got to be eligible for it. How is that reparations? Oh boy. Mm, mm, mm. Wow. And all through the article, y'all, they are calling it reparations, money they poured into housing. So they're saying, and this is just insulting, they're committing $10 million over the next decade in an attempt to repay Black residents for wrongdoing and accumulated losses incurred by generations of racism. $10 million over 10 years? That's $1 million a year. Oh, my. I think I'm gonna need a drink after this one, y'all. Ruth Simmons said she didn't start her election career even discussing reparations. It was not something that I had planned to pursue, she said. I was looking at data, she continued. I was looking at what we had done and what more we could do. And reparations was the only answer. This ain't reparations, girl. Wow. In a 70-page report, Robinson documented discrimination and racism in Evanston that dated back to late 1800s. We anticipated litigation tie-ups with the premise you cannot use tax money from the public to benefit a particular group of people. Why? You did it before. You used tax money to give the natives their money. You used tax money to give Jews money every single year, and Holocaust didn't happen on this land. And you gave to the Japanese, and that was taxpayer money. But all of a sudden, taxpayer money is not good enough for the Black community. Y'all full of crap. And it just shows that racism hasn't gone nowhere in America. That's what it really does prove. You do for every group, but when it comes down to us, you don't want to do nothing. That's straight up racism. There's nothing else to call it but racism. But y'all tell me what you think. I can't even get through this piece of crap of an article. I can't go any further. It is so insulting. $10 million over a decade for housing. And that's reparations. Woo, man. Mm. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.